My kid used my identity to scam people, and one of them tracked us down. I was watching football on a Sunday afternoon when 3 men kicked in my front door. They had guns, real guns, pointed at my face. Before I could even stand up, one of them slammed me against the wall. "Where's our money, Vincent?" My name is Vincent, but I had no idea what money they were talking about. "I don't know what you're talking about." The biggest one punched me in the stomach. $50,000. "You promised us guaranteed returns on crypto investments. You took our life savings and disappeared." I couldn't breathe. I'd never invested in crypto in my life. I was an electrician who barely understood how to check his email. "I don't do crypto. I don't have your money. I swear." One of them pulled out his phone and shoved it in my face. Then explained this. On the screen was a professional-looking website with my photo, my name, and the title, Certified Investment Advisor. There were testimonials from satisfied clients, screenshots of massive returns, a whole portfolio of success stories, and a contact form that promised personalized wealth management. "That's me," I stammered. "But I didn't make that website. I've never seen it before." They didn't believe me. Why would they? My face was plastered all over a scam that had stolen their money. One of them, an older man with gray hair, had tears in his eyes. "That was my retirement. 40 years of working construction, and you took it in 3 months." I kept shaking my head. "I didn't take anything. I'm being framed. Someone's using my identity." The third man, younger and angrier, pressed his gun against my temple. "You have 24 hours to return our money or we're coming back. And next time we won't just be talking." They left as violently as they'd arrived. My door was hanging off its hinges. My nose was bleeding. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I sat on my couch trying to figure out who could have done this, who had access to my photos, who knew enough about me to create a fake identity. Then I heard footsteps on the stairs. My 16-year-old son Dylan was standing there, pale as a ghost, phone clutched in his hand. "Dad, I think I need to tell you something." Dylan had been running a crypto investment scam for 8 months. He'd built the website himself using tutorials on YouTube. He'd used my photos and credentials because adults wouldn't trust a teenager with their money. He'd created fake testimonials, fake returns, fake everything. He'd been collecting payments through cryptocurrency wallets that couldn't be traced back to him. He showed me the operation on his laptop. Hundreds of victims, over $200,000 collected. He'd spent it on video games, sneakers, a secret apartment he'd been renting downtown to impress girls. He thought he was a genius. He thought he'd never get caught because crypto was anonymous. He didn't realize people could track IP addresses. He didn't realize victims would hire investigators. He didn't realize eventually someone would find the face on the website and show up with guns. I wanted to scream at him. I wanted to shake him until he understood what he'd done. But there were 3 armed men planning to come back in 24 hours, and I didn't have $50,000. I called the police. They took a report, but said there wasn't much they could do about the men since I couldn't identify them. They opened an investigation into Dylan's scam instead. My own son was now the subject of a federal wire fraud case. Meanwhile, I was the public face of a crime that had destroyed people's lives. I started getting death threats online. Someone posted my home address on a forum for scam victims. My employer found the fake website and suspended me pending investigation. My ex-wife called screaming that I'd ruined our son's life, as if I was the one who'd taught him to steal from strangers. Dylan sat in his room crying about how his future was over, how he'd never get into college now, how this wasn't fair. He'd stolen from hundreds of people, including a construction worker's entire retirement, and he was worried about college applications. The 3 men came back 2 days later. This time, I was ready. I'd hired a lawyer who'd negotiated contact with them through intermediaries. We met at a public restaurant with witnesses and cameras everywhere. I brought documentation showing Dylan had acted alone, that I was a victim of identity theft by my own child, that the FBI was now involved. I brought bank statements showing I didn't have the money. I brought Dylan himself to face the people he'd robbed. The older man, the one whose retirement was gone, just stared at my son. "You're a kid," he said quietly. "A kid ruined my life." Dylan started crying and saying he was sorry, that he didn't think about real people, that it was just numbers on a screen. The man laughed bitterly. "Just numbers. That was 40 years of 14-hour days. That was my wife's nursing home fund. That was everything." He stood up and looked at me. "I'm not going to hurt you or your son, but I hope he remembers my face every single day for the rest of his life." Dylan is facing federal charges as a juvenile. The restitution he owes will follow him forever.